Two of them are not modified at all. This is just an ordinary, as you can see, Canadian tire. Actually, it's very, very old. Benzematic propane torch. There are many better, much better, smaller torches on the market available today. I saw a couple at the last module meet that the tool lady had that tempted me, but I actually don't use it very much, and I found that it works plenty good enough for what I want to do. That's one tool. The next one down in terms of power, I guess, would be the Weller soldering gun. Now this has been modified as we went through in a number of clinics, so I'll briefly go through it. That's a piece of number 10 copper wire, and the tip has been filed to a bevel point. That's the only modification. This increases its speed about 4 times, and certainly more than doubles its power in terms of when you turn it on, how fast it gets hot and how hot it gets.
That's just because of the copper wiring.
Well, because the original tip. What this is, as a matter of fact, I've been thinking about this. What this really is a resistance soldering outfit with a closed loop. What you have in here is a primary, which is a transformer wound around inside to here, and the secondary consists of a brass rod bent into a U shape like that. That's all there is in there, and then this is the other end of the secondary circuit. If you look at a replacement Weller tip, what you have is welded onto the end of here, you have a bronze or copper large block filed this way into a bevel. Well, Ohm's law tells you right off the bat that current is what causes heat or resistance, and the smallest area of resistance is now going to be the conductors, not the point. So these are going to get bloody red hot before the end does, which doesn't do you any good at all. So what I've done is I've modified it so that this, in fact, is the smallest area of the garden hose if you want to think about water flowing through a hose. So the highest point of resistance is out here, right at the end where you want it. So now, of course, you can't rob Peter to pay Paul. The tips don't last very long. They're about, in locomotive construction, about 3 to a locomotive, okay, more or less.
Wow. So, of course, they're expensive, too.
Well, the thing is, you can go up to a number 10 gauge solid wire. You can go and buy about 4 feet. It'll last you for the rest of your life, because you're only going to use that much each time.
Now, does the length of that tip have any...
No. Well, I mean, if you made it that long, yeah, it would. But I mean, a plus or minus an inch, or it wouldn't make any difference one way or the other.
Roughly 4.
That's how
roughly about like that. I don't know, I copied the original one, and I imagine that I varied as much as a half an inch one way or another over it, and it never seems to make any difference. Again, file it to a radius and a bevel so that, in fact, you've got a chisel point, preferably less than 45 degrees, because if you want to go into the corner of something, you don't want to hit at the outside edges. You want to be right at the intersection of the two parts. This, terms of usage, less than 5%, over 80, okay, about 10%. This is for piping. I use that one for piping as well too. This is for already assembled piping. This is an Unger, really cheap. The only difference is they come in 2 wattages, 27 watts and 47 watts. Get the 47 watt one with the littlest tip. What you want is same thing, same as this. You want lots of power, quick, and at a tiny, tiny point. That's what we want. This also, these things die rather quickly. This just unscrews, and you can get more of them. They screw onto the end of it, and it doesn't. Don't put them on with vice grips or something. It gets on their bed enough with the heat after a while. You have to take them off with the vice grips, so don't put them on with the vice grips. Been sort of prepared a little bit. Cleanliness. This has been rubbed with 250 grit paper till it's nice and smooth. You don't want to use anything coarser. Unless Lex paints it, then he'll put enough paint on to cover up the scratches, but you don't want to put too deep of scratches on it.
I have to.
So the normal thing you're going to do, is attach things. Normally, is attach things. So you actually spend more time, like Jim said, you spend far more time planning about what you're going to do than doing it. The soldering is about somewhere between 3 and 5% of the work. It's the last, it's the glory part. You've done a whole pile of work before you ever get that far. So let's start with something simple. We want to put an injector into the top of the boiler. So we drill it so it fits reasonably good. Okay, not seriously, but we can actually make it a force fit if we want to. Everything is all, now, admittedly, everything has all been cleaned, and I got to stress this over and over again. It really does have to be clean. It has to be very, very clean or it won't work.
Harold, what does this fit?
What do you mean, what does it fit?
Well, what locomotive does it
Oh, this is not going to go on a locomotive. This is not going to go on a
Demonstration purposes only.
The other thing that I might comment about this, and Lex has just given me a piece of paper towel here to clean up. In working with this, particularly if you were to start with that 1882 locomotive, this is not like putting structures together with nice clean wood from the Mount Albert Scale Lumber Company. You're going to get dirty doing this. This is a dirty job. And even with a clean kit, you're going to do a lot of polishing with emery. Your hands are going to get dirty, and so you do have to clean up quite a bit. And by clean up, I mean boiling hot water and detergent on the model. Probably, and I really should be careful about this, don't leave it more than 48 hours because that flux will begin to eat into the brass fairly quickly. It's even this, which is the no corrode, will stain the brass, and the only way to get it off is to sand it off afterwards. There's no cleaners that I've been able to find yet that will actually take it off. The other thing that you have to remember, and you'll notice that around the layout here there's all kinds of little bits. It gets hot, so you can't hold on to things, and I'm gonna defeat this by showing you can. You can't hold on to things with your fingers. So what you need to do is make, as Jim said, you make little jigs. In this particular case, I used balsa wood. And so now you've got a jig to hold it in place. It's not going anywhere.
Can I ask a question? Just back up.
Sure.
When you clean a part like that, I mean, this part, obviously, the brass part, that's easy to clean. But the casting, how do you clean that? Just a file?
You need to look, all around it. You can see all that's been all filed and sharpened and cleaned up because there is casting residue on here. Now, if I was going to really put this on, there are two dimples in here, which Sam Honsky uses to attach the pipes, which is why they break off. I would drill in here the size of the pipes, and drilling, you will clean. Obviously, you're going to cut the brass away, you're going to clean it anyway, okay? So, I mean, we're not going to put the piping on.
The thing I might want to add here, Harold, the guys might not realize, is whenever you cast a metal,
there's a skin on it anyway.
It develops a surface skin, and that's where most of the impurities are.
Yeah, so when you try to solder it, you will find that the solder...
They'll precipitate out first during the cooling process.
Right. And you'll find that when you try to solder on that surface, that it will go in little tiny balls all over the place because what it's doing, it's skipping the impurities and touching only those spots, so it makes a very poor joint.
How soon would you solder after you drill that out before oxidation?
12 hours.
12 hours? Okay, so it's solder soon.
You've got to work ongoing, okay? So you've got to work ongoing.
So what you
Probably you're even safe up to a week.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that's quite handy that you want to try and do, I use Bell telephone solder, and this is a kind of a neat trick for that. You've got to have your hands reasonably free to do this, okay? So what we're going to do with this is we're going to work on the inside. And this is exactly how production models are done, by the way.
And you're going to hold that in your hand?
Sure.
That's how you do it. All right.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
We're going to lick the end of the soldering iron, too, to make sure it's hot enough.
Put your tongue on this.
Well, I'm
make sure
not
it's hot,
going to
yeah.
linger around forever to do that.
Yeah, it's not like you on the phone.
Ooh, what's wrong with holding that like that?
Once the capillary reaction starts, that thing's in there good.
And everybody picks on me.
It's don't hold the other end, okay? The bottom end, not the end with the fitting, okay?
Take the cold end, Sam.
Oh, shit.
Now, there's another problem. That's a soldering iron. Now, one of the things that I cannot tell you how I do it is what I call the decision about what tool to use, except generally, okay? If I was going to assemble this frame, okay, you'd be a hell of a long time trying to assemble this frame with that iron. I can tell you that right now. Well, it's the beginning of the show, so anyway, small, very small one. But if you were going to assemble that would take you a hell of a long time with that iron to try and solder that together. And by the way, the resistance soldering outfit wouldn't really help you a hell of a lot either, because you, as Jim said, you also with a jig here, you can't really hold something hot unless you on a metal plate or even a wooden plate, because they're going to burn it and you're going to destroy the jig. So I would do this with shims and a piece of marble. Okay, and put shims underneath, and the shims will be wood underneath. Okay, it doesn't matter if you burn it up. Shims underneath, because if you put it down on the deck, this is going to be a huge heat sink, and it's not. You're going to be defeated again anyway. Okay, so that's a basis of decisions about, because these things, like, I mean, feel the weight of this thing. It's a huge heat sink. It's just going to suck heat. So you need to put a lot of heat into this. Now, again, you got to think further along. So keep going with this before I do anything else, where everybody's having a look at the one joint. And let's suppose that you wanted to put this together. You put it together, and then you discovered after you put it together that something has to be soldered on here, across there. If you look at those C16s, you'll see that soldered across here is a step. Well, that means that you've got to get this and this just as hot as it was before to solder the step. What's going to happen, of course, is it's going to fall apart. And everybody goes, oh, I told you, see, it always bloody falls apart, you can't do this.
Get out the epoxy.
Of course you can't. No, what you do is you solder it together and make sure it's all square, and then very carefully drill a hole in from the end, and go into this about 1/8 of an inch, okay, and you put a pin in, a snug pin. Now, it doesn't have to be a drive fit, just snug. Flux the pin, put all the 4 pins in, take the torch and heat it up again. Now it will, you'd have a hell of a time to get that apart with a pair of vice grips, even hot, I'm telling you right now. I've tried.
Oh yeah, all the paraphernalia that goes with Harley.
They're on candid camera.
I think you can get Harley underwear now.
More than he needs.
When you get heated out of ginger ale. Just a taste. God, those cameras really piss me off.
He doesn't need much prompting.
Yeah, you don't know whether the tip went in when he was going to come out, or when he decided to land, or...
Only I said 3 people have to stick together.
But,
We've got to convince him
what
to
amazed
change
me was
scales.
that they so quickly painted out the numbers in the letter.
Remember 1983?
Well, I guess they did it. It's legal. Because once it crashes, it's no longer the property of Kennedy. It's the property of the insurance company.
Okay, so.
Right on.
I got the table, okay.
History Channel? Oh, have you been watching that Trains Unlimited series they've had on there on Monday nights?
Oh, that would be
Oh, really? Because I was on that.
We can take 4 sides, you know? Yeah, we can put it right in there.
Is that a wood eye? Just like wood eye?
These are for sale, right?
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, you need doors?
You need some bits and pieces for this.
Yeah, let's just wait for it.
Let's get a bunch of holes in there.
What do you see?
Everything's free.
What I don't know is what they do with the oil.
Well,
you are the ambassador.
Something coming down grade here.
You are the ambassador. Somebody gonna need a block over here?
It's supposed to make a noise. Or I wouldn't do it. It's scaring me again. They get frightened and I'm dangerous. One of the things I do. Down the pool?